Hello, everyone. Welcome to yoga class. My name is Caitlin. I'm happy you're here with me in the future, whatever day it is for you. I hope it's a good one. And if it's not, I'm extra glad you're here with me then. We are going to get started on our 45-minute practice by coming into a comfortable cross-legged seat of your choosing. Pillows, blocks, blankets under the butt are encouraged if you're uncomfortable. And if this is uncomfortable to sit up nice and tall, I would encourage you then to lie on your back. Do whatever makes you feel good. This shouldn't ever feel like a punishment. We only want to listen to our bodies and respond appropriately. So finding your comfortable seat, we'll close the eyes and start to inhale in through the nose, down into the belly. Immediately becoming mindful of our spine and the amount of space we're creating between the tail and the crown. So we're rooting down through the sits bones, lifting up through the chest and crown. Light and fluid in the middle body. I would invite you to set an intention for your practice. Maybe that's something personal, a mantra or kind words to yourself or motivating words towards a gentle goal. Or maybe your intention is something outside of yourself, which feels like lately there's a large pool of disaster to pull from, to choose from, to set an intention with. And that may resonate with you in a different way than it does for me, setting intentions. For me, I understand that when we come on the mat and we move our bodies, we are stirring up and supporting, changing, shifting, and expelling energy from our physical, spiritual body. And so for me, when I'm setting an intention for a practice, I am consciously choosing or telling that energy where I want it to go. And that may not resonate with you, but in that regard, theoretically, we can make big changes. We can have a big impact individually, but also collectively, if we together here, but also in places all around the world, people who are setting intentions through yoga or meditation or prayer or dance or service work, etc. That energy becomes something bigger than ourselves, and we're able to influence change. We have a few minutes left in our meditation, so we'll do it quietly and we can let those thoughts, those feelings marinate. Here for 5 more breaths, about 30 more seconds. At the end of your next exhale, keeping eyes closed, we'll drop chin to chest, gently rocking neck from side to side. Right ear pulls over towards the right shoulder. Let's pause before we find a rhythm. Sending several breaths over into the left side of the neck, top of the left shoulder. Finding that sweet spot. We'll use an exhale to drop chin to chest, rolling through center as slow as you can, being meticulous with our movement until left ear wraps up and over at the top of the left shoulder. So we send several breaths into the right side of the neck, the top of the right shoulder, actively drawing the right shoulder down, away from the ear, seeing how much space we can create. Noticing where the breath becomes really active in the body. Chin drops towards chest on the exhale, gently rolling again through center, right ear over right shoulder. Exhale, chin drops over to the left. Exhale, chin drops to center and gently we lift the head, chin pointing out towards the front of the mat. Keeping the eyes closed maybe, or an invitation to do so. Feeling your way through the movement instead of seeing it. We shift belly button over towards the right thigh, hands are on the knees, palms face down. Exhale, bending at the hips, we lean the belly over the right thigh, chest over the right knee. And we then swoop the chin, chest through center until we mirror it on the left side. So chest is now over the left knee, belly button towards the left thigh, belly over the left leg. Continue your circle, rounding it through. When you do deep rounding in the spine, like we do in our cat-cows, so the cat part of our cat-cow, dropping chin to chest, doming the chest cavity, and then shifting the belly over towards the right. So seated spinal circles or kundalini circles. Chest comes over through center. Picking up the pace if that feels good. You may feel some activity, some singing, popping in the body. We are mindful of it, aware of it, acknowledging it, but we don't feel the need to interact unless it is, of course, a red flag. Next time you're on the back end of your circle, we'll pause to shift it in the other direction. Belly first comes over the left leg. See if you can be a little softer, a little more fluid. Maybe your circles start to get a little bigger. Maybe they were too big and they need to be smaller. Next time you're at the back end of your circle, we'll sit up nice and tall. Big inhale. Shoulders drop down away from the ears. Long exhale. Inhale, both arms reach up overhead. We look up at the space between the hands. Big inhale to grow tall. Exhale, we bend at the hips so belly starts to come forward. Palms flip to face the front of us as we drape the hands down in front of the body. Palms face down on the ground. Choosing your cross-legged forward fold for today. Maybe that's keeping the elbows straight. Gaze right in between the thumbs. Maybe elbows stay straight, but you start to drop the head. Ears come right next to the biceps. Maybe you drop elbows and forearms all the way down to the ground, forehead reaching down towards the earth. Maybe you bring palm over palm, stacking hands or stacking the fists to rest the forehead. And we're breathing in big through the nose, down into the belly. Full breath, so much so that you can feel the skin on the low back expanding. Noticing how the breath is interacting and reacting with different parts of the body. Next inhale, we use the heel of the palm, strengthen our arms, active in the belly, starting to bring ourselves up to our seated position. We're going to shift onto our knees, almost like we're coming into a tabletop position. But before we do, we're going to sink the heels or the hips back onto the heels. So you can have toes curled against the ground if that's the most comfortable for you. Or we bring tops of the feet to the mat, resting heels on the ground. I'm going to scooch up just a little. Can shift the fleshy parts of the glutes to the side if that feels good. And we're going to take our twist this way. So inhale, both arms come up overhead. Once you're there, stay for an inhale, letting the spine grow nice and tall, letting the belly set. And exhale, right hand comes to the outside of the left knee or outside of the left leg, palm facing away from you or towards you, whichever. And we drop the left hand behind us. Giving a gentle push or pull, depending on your perspective, in the right hand. Maybe you drop the left ear to the left shoulder. On your exhale, let's lift left arm behind us and then rainbow up and over until we're again facing the front of the mat. Inhale, both arms come up overhead. Stay for the inhale to grow tall and to set your foundation. Exhale, left hand drops to outside of the left leg, or excuse me, of the right leg or right knee as the right hand finds a space for support behind us. Inhale, right arm reaches behind us, rainbowing up and back to the front edge of the mat. Final movement will come off of the ankles. Hands are going to drop behind us in space, so you can either have fingertips pointing away from you, palms face on the ground, or we flip the fingers to face the body or face the front of the mat as we lift the chest. So no curling the shoulders forward. In fact, we're going to do just the opposite. And you may have to find your sweet spot by walking the hands a little bit behind you. And then we pinch the shoulder blades together, almost an exaggerated pulling of the shoulders behind us, while pressing into the fingertips to lift out of the shoulders, opening the chest so that we're not compressing in the low back. And last but not least, gaze comes up towards the ceiling. We're heavy in the knees, pressing down firmly through the feet. So this is your foundation, and then you can customize. If it feels good for you to drop down onto your forearms, heavy in the knees, that's great. If hero pose is in your practice and you want to bring the feet as wide as the mat, that's great too. One more inhale. Exhale, we press into the tops of the feet, pressing into the fingertips. We rise up onto the fingertips. Chest stays lifted as we again sit up nice and tall. Diving forward onto the hands, we lift up off of the ankles. Ooh, yeah. Maybe giving them a nice little rotation before we find our tabletop position. And we'll start by just swaying the hips gently from side to side. Closing the eyes. Pausing anywhere that feels really good, anywhere that needs attention, listening to the body. Maybe take some gentle rocking from side to side of the hips. And staying on theme with one of our first movements, we'll find some sort of round movement. So if that is just taking the hips in pelvic circles, keeping the arms straight, that's great. Maybe you're going to take some figure eights where you rock the hips from side to side, chest moves in the opposite direction. Finding some gentle movement for another breath. And then we'll pause in our table position, inhaling to drop the belly, open the chest. Really pressing away from the yoga mat. We're going to stay here for an extra breath. One more inhale. Exhale, we round through, tucking the tail, pressing away from the earth. Really doming that chest cavity. Stay here for an extra breath, squeeze. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, nice and gentle, letting that blood have room to flow. Exhale, round through. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, round through. Inhale brings you back to tabletop position. Big toes come together, knees come as wide as the yoga mat or as wide as is comfortable. And we sink the hips back onto the heels. Maybe taking some gentle sways in the shoulder and the upper body before making your way, crawling the fingers out towards the front of the mat, extended child's pose, your version. So again, as with everything, I will set you up for a foundation. That is my job, and your job is to listen to your own body and customize. Build that relationship, be open to that. And experiment, because it's okay to not have the answer. It's kind to be curious, especially about our own bodies. On your next exhale, both hands walk over off the left side of the mat, hips stay heavy. As we find a side body stretch, right hand maybe comes on top of the left hand. Exhale, let's stay nice and low as we crawl our way over to the right. Exhale draws us back through center. We press into the tops of the feet. Curl the tailbone to help us rise back up to table. Knees come underneath the hips. Let's walk the hands out just slightly in space as we start to drop the tops of the thighs, pelvis, belly, all the way down to the earth. Forehead kisses the mat. Hands are right underneath the shoulders. Let's stay here for just a moment, finding our foundation. Tops of the feet are pressed down to the mat. If it feels good, actually, you know what? Let's do that. Start tapping the tops of the feet on the mat. And whatever pace feels good for you. Just waking up the feet. And then we pause, pressing into the fingers, lifting chest, chin, gaze, shoulders drop down away from the ears, elbows are tight to the side body. Exhale, lower, nice and gentle cobras. Inhale. Exhale, we rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Last one, inhale, we rise, cobra, maybe rising up to a high cobra. One more breath cycle here, mindful of our shoulders and where we're finding our power. Exhale, or where we're using our power, lower. Toes curl, inhale, press up to table. Hips up high, downward facing dog. Several deep breaths here as we let the blood, as we make space for the blood to move around the body, the breath to move around the body. Different positions require different types of breathing or require different space. Heels are nice and heavy. Knees are as bent as you need them to be. One more breath here. And exhale, we start to make our way up to the top of the mat. Maybe you take several little steps. Maybe you take a crisscross walk. Maybe you're hopping or taking one giant step up to the top of the mat. And we'll meet together in a forward fold. Feet as wide or as close together as feels comfortable for you or as feels necessary for you. And we're nice and loose and fluid in the upper body. So no rigidity, we're just being kind and gentle. Maybe some swaying from side to side. Maybe you bend the knees and let the crown reach a little closer to the earth. Your crown. Everyone has one, don't you forget it. And then maybe we take a moment of stillness. If the knees are deeply bent and the hands reach the earth, maybe you flip the palms up towards the ceiling. Receptive posture. On your next inhale, we're going up nice and gentle, slow. Remembering that there are things happening in the body beyond what we can see and feel. Arms up overhead. Palms kiss together, descending at the heart space. We're resting for a breath. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, palms flip externally as we bend at the hips, starting to swan dive forward. Fingertips come right in front of the feet. When we inhale, straightening the arms, straightening the elbows, gaze is out in front of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we lift halfway, figure 7 shape with the body. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down to the mat. We're stepping just the left foot back, drop the back knee. We're in our lunge. It feels good here. Staying on theme, and gently sway the upper body from side to side. Slight movement in the hips can make a big difference. Rely on the fingertips, or you can have fists on the ground if that feels more comfortable today. Maybe you have hovering fingers. Maybe you need to be all the way elevated, palms on the thigh. Nice and long, creating as much space as we can between crown and tail. On our next inhale, we're powering through, firming up our foundation in the front foot as we rise. Arms come up overhead, biceps are by the ears. And sink back down into that hip if you need to, or if you feel that that's necessary. Exhale, we're bringing the palms wide at our sides, arms straight. As hands start to drop behind the tail, we interlace the fingers at the tail, looping the shoulders. We draw the fingers down towards the earth, chest is wide open, gaze lifts up towards the ceiling. Big inhale. I know that this can hurt, having the chest, the heart space this open, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Exhale gently. We're bringing the chest forward, bending at the hips. Belly comes right by the thigh, chest close to the right knee as we gaze out in front of the right foot. Exhale, we release the hands, bringing them out in front of us. Palms face each other, biceps again by the ears. Exhale, we're lifting hips up and back as we start to straighten that front foot. Toes maybe reach up towards the ceiling. Maybe the knee doesn't get anywhere close to straight, and that's okay. Exhale, we're rolling through that right foot, and again, rising back up, biceps by the ears, fingers up towards the ceiling. Exhale, we're pivoting the pelvis over towards the left. So left foot is going over off the right side of the mat. Okay, so right knee's above right ankle, left hip is above left knee, left foot is reaching behind the left glute off the right side of the mat. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Exhale, right arm drops next to the right arch as we lift left arm up towards the ceiling and then towards the front of the mat. Exhale, we rise back to position 1 and we rotate left foot back, squaring the hips off towards the front of the mat and dropping both palms to frame the right foot. We curl the back toes, lift the back knee, right foot comes back to meet the left. We're in plank. Inhale, you can always have knees down, half plank as well. Exhale, lower gently, all the way down, toes flip, forehead kisses, inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Toes curl, Inhale, presses us up to tabletop or plank as the hips lift up high, downward facing dog. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, left foot steps up to left thumb as we drop the back knee. We take it onto the other side. Back toes can stay curled or top of foot comes down to the mat. We find our position for our low lunge. On our inhale, powering through the front foot, we rise. Settling back into the hip. Exhale, hands come nice and wide, elbows straight. And we interlace fingers behind the tail. Opposite thumb on top this time, so whichever one feels a little weird. Curl the shoulders. We reach the fingers down towards the earth. Chest is open. Gaze lifts. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. Exhale, leading with the chest. We start to bend at the hip. Belly comes by the left thigh. Chest towards the left knee. Gaze out past the front of the mat. Exhale, gentle release of the fingers as we wrap the hands around, biceps by the ears, fingers reaching out past the front of the mat. Exhale, pressing into the front foot, we lift the hips up and back as we straighten that front foot, toes reach up towards the ceiling. Maybe we drop the forehead towards the body, bowing towards the knee. Inhale rolls you through that front foot as we again rise, hands up towards the ceiling, biceps by the ear. Big inhale. Exhale, we're pivoting on that back foot. Right foot coming off the left side of the mat. And we reach left arm up towards the ceiling, maybe gently pulling towards the back edge of the mat. And on an exhale, we're spiraling that left hand down to the left arch. Right arm comes up towards the ceiling and then out towards the front of the mat. Exhale, right arm reaches up and back as we rise and pivot on the back leg to square off shoulders and hips to the front of the mat. Both palms drop to frame the left foot. Curl the back toes, we lift the back knee. This time we're stepping back foot up to meet the front and our forward fold. Inhale, rolls you up to mountain, arms come up overhead, palms kiss together, descending at the heart space. Breath of rest for one breath cycle. Big exhale. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, we fold. Fingertips come down to the ground as we heel toe, the feet wider than the hips, toes pointing away from the body, heels pointing towards the body. Using the fingers to guide us, we start to drop the hips between the heels, yogi squat, or your version. You can keep palms on the ground as a support this way. Maybe you need to bring a blanket or pillows up underneath the heels to give you extra room. Or maybe we sink and drop the sits bones pelvis down towards the earth. Palms at the heart space. Heart reaching towards the thumbs. Sitting up nice and tall. Close the eyes if you haven't already. Feeling your way through this movement, this power move, this beautiful natural stance. Inhale. Long exhale, send it down through the tail, out through the crown. Inhale helps guide us, one hand in front, one behind, onto the bum. Once we get there, we're rolling supine onto the spine. Knees come up towards the chest. It feels natural to draw the knees towards the chest further by interlacing the fingers around the shin. Please do so. If the next natural movement feels like rocking gently side to side, you have permission. Although you don't need mine. Let's find a moment of stillness for 2 breath cycles. We'll keep the knees lifted, the soles of the feet lifted, but we will let go gently of our locking fingers, bringing the arms nice and wide to a T, palms face down. We draw the knees over the hips, feet come in line with, or ankles come in line with the knees, shins are parallel to the mat. We scoop the tailbone gently, bringing the low back flush to the earth, belly's heavy and active. Big inhale. Exhale, keeping both shoulders pinned down to the mat. We're going to drop both legs with control over to the left. Listening and customizing our own body. Maybe your body starts singing to you again, like mine just did. Once you get to where you're going, we release. No more gripping, no holding. The ground is here to support you. We don't need to hold on with muscle or bone or tendon. Next exhale, belly button draws to spine. We lift the legs up through center and then take them to the other side. Noticing how this side feels different. Invitation to incorporate any props, maybe a pillow on the outside of the right knee. Maybe a pillow in between both knees. Maybe you're just like, you know what, this sucks. I don't like this position. Cool. We're going to meet you in Shavasana in just a moment. One more inhale. Exhale, belly button to spine as we bring ourselves back through center. Gently, we drop the soles of the feet to the mat. I mean, the left leg, left foot to the left corner of the mat, right foot to the right corner of the mat, letting the toes splay open, ankles are soft. Hands can come closer to the hips, maybe flipping the palms up towards the ceiling. Let's take one last collective breath together. Big inhale. And a long, releasing, loving, gentle exhale. Thank you for practicing with me today. It's always a pleasure. But thank yourself for showing up. I know it's difficult, but you continue to do it. You should be proud because, well, just because. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.